Welcome back to Soccer Cards United. You're listening to episode 272 of the greatest soccer card podcast in the world. My name is Jason. That's Enzo. Enzo, what is on the show today?
Hello, Jason, first of all. Today, we have Topps Simplicidad, Fanatics repacks, and a new collectible from Panini and FIFA.
Oh, that sounds great. Let's hear the music. So there's actually a couple of collectibles from Panini and FIFA this week. And the first one is a traditional one, which is FIFA Select, which has been confirmed to return. We've been kind of covering the returns, the kind of dripped out rollout of the various selects over the last few weeks on the show. And the big news from FIFA Select is that unlike Donruss, is it?
Yep.
Unlike Panini Noir maybe as well, this is club and country kits.
Yep, they've mixed it in. So... And we've seen this year's select designs many different times over Serie A and La Liga and all that kind of stuff that we've been previewing. I like that. Is that a honeycomb? Or is it a tessellation? I think this is a tessellation. Let me zoom it in.
Zoom. See if you can see some tessellating here.
It certainly doesn't look like a honeycomb, I'll tell you that much.
No, I think
have you seen a honeycomb before?
No.
You've never seen in real life a honeycomb?
Oh, I've seen a honeycomb.
Does that look like a honeycomb to you?
Two of the three colors there look like they could be involved in honey, but the green certainly has no place.
Panini America put together their parallels right. That honeycomb, you're going to know when you see it. You're going to know it's a honeycomb.
Wow, that's incredible. We got some select memorabilia autographs with some swirling here.
I like the swirls. I was about to say that. I like the kind of, it's obviously a bit different to like, because how do you, if you're doing select every single year, you really do need to alter the design a bit while keeping it selecty, but I do like the swirls this year. I think they look good.
I like the swirls too. I'm just going to very quickly Google what tessellating looks like.
I thought you were going to just hop on eBay and look at a honeycomb select.
Look at this, right? That is, the one we saw was definitely tessellate.
Wait, let me have a look. I was Googling honeycomb. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can see a bit of honeycomb-esque-ness.
There's definitely, I would say they're in the same ballpark.
Okay, but look at honeycomb on eBay. I'm looking at an NFL honeycomb. I swear to God, I can taste the honey, Jason.
Wow, it's dripping.
It's dripping with honey. And this will be the first time, I think, that soccer gets a honeycomb. Not that it's not that important.
Not that we're all waiting on it.
Well, we weren't all clamoring for it. But I think it is the first time that we get, which shows
Jamer Gibbs NFL debut honeycomb I see here. Yeah, that's nice.
There you go.
That's real nice. I feel like Panini are getting a little bit spicy with the stuff they're putting in soccer this year. There's a lot of stuff like that. The big head thing in Prism was coming up. I think they're kind of
Prismania
starting to fold in. What's it called?
Prismania, isn't it?
Prismania, yeah. I call it the big head insert.
Well, I think, to be honest, ultimately it comes down to an increase of print runs across the select. So, like, if you're going to increase a print run, you need to pull in extra parallels, or in that case, it's just extra case hits or an extra kind of box hits or whatever. Yeah. Look, select is a fan favorite, I would say. I don't think there's nothing wrong with select. I think the sad thing about select this day and age, especially as Fanatics takeover of Topps and continuation to push the hobby to new heights, particularly in soccer, Jason, is that people are starting to look at select and kind of going napkin patches, unworn, unassociated, sticker autos all over it, and then you kind of have Topps and Fanatics going, this is a game used rookie patch, or this is this, and this is on card auto all day, every day, son. So that's kind of making select look a little bit cheaper than it traditionally has looked, I would say.
It is, yeah, because when it came back first, even though people were getting kind of like one color patches that didn't look like anything at all, you were still excited because they were low numbered and you hadn't had one in ages. Just before anyone writes in, I realized that I was previously showing the page for Premier League Select, but it is the same. There's the tessellating thing.
Come on.
Honeycomb is going to be an unnumbered, by the way, and tessellation is of 15.
Right.
There's your swirls. There is your stained glass.
That was bad, but that also speaks to the fact that select does look very similar across the board. And so you're doing 4 select soccer products, but why does the design have to be the same?
That has been my
question.
My impression as we've been doing, because I feel every time one of new selects, kind of like a sell sheet or something kind of comes out, it's like, right, we have to cover it on the show, but it is just like the same product across. Like, surely there should be some sort of, I don't know, either differentiate it or combine it. Like it's kind of almost like it feels like Chronicles sometimes, where it's like just the same thing repeated over multiple licenses. Like, can we do something with this? Can we maybe get like them combined or make them like literally different from each other?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, in fairness, you could say from a set collecting and continuity point of view, you're kind of going, this is the year where Select had swirls, and this is what it looked like, and I'm collecting all of the soccer sets or whatever. So
yeah, I guess
there's a collectibles reason for that. But
yeah,
but I agree. It is a bit.
But even if people may actually say that it is, there may already be one of these. Is what I'm saying. But like, could there be like a special Premier League parallel in the Premier League one, a special Serie A parallel, just something where it's like, oh, you can only get these in this particular set, because like obviously they bring in Honeycomb and Tessellated or whatever, and it's like Tessellation, and it's like, right, these are across all of them, but like give me a special EPL. You know, a FIFA parallel or
especially
for parallel or something.
I think especially in FIFA, because, or you know, like for example, if La Liga had a special parallel that you could only get in La Liga, therefore even though Mbappe appears in FIFA, you can't get that parallel in FIFA. That, you know,
exactly.
Yeah.
There
you go.
So there's an idea. Obviously, from a production point of view, they're like, well, we don't want to make things that we can't use for all the selects, because I'm sure it's cheaper with the printing plates or whatever. But just to throw us a bone, just something.
I just want numbered logos this year. That's my big hope.
So we leave Select there, FIFA Select there with all the other selects. They have been, I think, all pushed back.
Can I say, I want to call out on the Panini America website, they still have last year's Serie A Select,
right?
And now it's up there, but it's also up there beside the upcoming this year's Serie A Select. So you see 2 green boxes. Select Serie A, of course, being a green box. And last year's one is sitting there, $435. Hasn't even been reduced. Hasn't got a discount, nothing like it. Even though the market price is probably half of that at the moment. And then the new one's coming soon. So I don't really know what that means for the price of Serie A. Like, I honestly think that they were super confused year one as to why Serie A was so popular. And in year 2, they said it must be the same again. They avoided that. Kavicha was a hot rookie at the time, and everyone was excited about it.
I mean, they're obviously not even, they may not even known him, seen his performance against Liverpool over the last 2 legs. Like, this guy is special. There's a reason why he is who he is.
People like,
and Select Serie A was what it was.
But I don't think they knew that. So year 2, they priced it, and they've obviously been stubborn all the way towards the release of the following one. And it concerns me a bit about where the price of the new one's going to be. Because if the old one should be about half of where it came at, where are they going to put this one? Because if they're looking at their own website saying $435 is what we want, and now they're about to price the new one, what are they going to price it at? Because like Serie A has historically as well been a shorter print than the other ones, which has been great for the product. It's bigger print now than it was last year, but like last year I want to say 600 cases. But the pricing of it, I don't know, concerns me. It should concern Panini. Like, how do you have Serie A Select sitting on the Panini website for over a year? That and it's so short print. It's like, clearly the price is wrong. So why not adjust it? Because I do believe they adjust. Like, I'm convinced I've seen like Premier League Prisms in the past be like at a cheaper price on, like, it's not like the Panini website never does discounts. Like, I'm pretty sure
they have reduced prices over time.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any sales. Like, they definitely have a sale on products. I don't see any at the moment. Everything just seems to be coming soon.
Well, just to contrast it to something like, let's say, like Topps UEFA Finest, right? On Topps.com, if they don't sell all of the UEFA Finest in the kind of like time frame that they want to, like, and it goes off the website, that doesn't mean there is no UEFA Finest in any Topps warehouse in any part of the world. Sometimes there still is, but they're like, we can't just leave this up. It looks bad for the product. And like, if you're Panini now and you're pricing 24-25 Serie A Select and you're putting it beside that, you can't really go higher, because on what basis are you going higher? You can't go lower because it kind of like, you know, like you're kind of just trapped.
Yeah, so you need to get rid of that.
You need to get rid of that. You can't even put it the same, because it's like, well, that's been sitting there for a year, so obviously you price it too high, so this should be lower.
And if Panini America are listening, I will buy all of your Serie A Select from last year if you price it right and you slide into my DMs.
And allow you to chase some
Frosinone cards. That's it. There's no hot rookie in there, I promise. I mean, there's a couple of hot rookies actually in there, but they're not moving the needle. Let me buy my Frosinone cards. Let me just rip through a few cases and get my Frosinone card. I don't see the problem. I don't see the big issue.
I don't think there's a big issue either. Let's move over to Topps, who released the other day on the 7th of March, 24-25 Topps Simplicidad, which Google here on this webpage has nicely translated to simplicity for me.
Oh, very nice. Look at how nice that box looks this year, Jason. I love it.
Yeah, nice monochrome box design, black and white, very nice. Some real highlights here, this MSN, which they've gotten now in the right order. Or previously, they could, remember it was a M&S was one of the booklets or one of the triple auto before.
I never seen that.
You did. We covered it on the.
No, I never seen that in my life, Jason.
Nice Jude Bellingham, Vinny Jr., Leo Messi. Yeah, this is a nice design. I really like Simplicity. Oh, I like that. I like that all white.
That is nice
card there.
I like the one previous. See the Yamal with the kind of pitch vibe. Yeah, like the logo's kind of almost. I like it in the background.
That almost looks like he's like looks almost like a kind of FIFA or something animation. It looks to like good. Designate him as a certain. Like, it looks good, yeah.
Simplicidad have, as far as I'm concerned, done it again. Another nice, fun set. A set that I'd love to see on better card stock because I think it deserves it.
Yeah,
super nice, super slick. It's a win. They've made it one auto per box this year, Jason, as well.
Right.
That comes with a slightly increased price, but I think that's kind of fair for one auto per box. €100. I think in this day and age, that's a good price for a product like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any complaints. I think it's sold out fast.
We have been, I think it did sell out fast. Yeah, we have been criticized a few times on this podcast, Enzo, for basically condoning the rise in prices of these products over the years. And I suppose it is a genuine point, which is the cost of entry to the hobby is getting higher. But then you could also say that the market is growing. So I don't know. I've been in the YouTube comments a good few times, having conversations about relative pricing with people, and people say, well, just because Chrome is overpriced doesn't mean these products can be overpriced as well. And I'm like, well, it kind of does.
That's kind of what happened. I don't know. It's
kind of what happened.
I think historically, 80 to 100 quid has always been a really good e-com price point.
Yeah.
When you add in one auto per box for Simplicity, I think that's solid. I think it's very solid. I think
yes.
Other sets maybe have been a bit shitty. And the general pricing is super high, especially when you truly look at the value you're getting out of the box. But that's never really been what dictates the price of a box across the board across all manufacturers. I don't think Panini Prism has ever really been great value. It's just a fun chase and whatever,
Yes, I agree. There is an only one card here.
Do you think?
So we'll see.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think the only one card in this will have some form of association with Simplicidad as a kind of card design vibe, or do you think it's going to be again its own thing?
I think it'll be its own card style, but they may choose a Spanish-based player because it's in Simplicity. I don't know. Who knows how only one works?
Yeah,
really.
No, sorry. In fact, I think the key thing of only one is that it's not in the same style as the set. That way, it kind of surprises.
Yes.
I suppose. I don't know. Nobody knows.
I
don't really think I've seen an only one card sell as of yet, because I think anyone that kind of gets one wants the sun, the moon, or the stars for it, which is fair because there is only one. It's also one, like, what's the market on that? Because like, there's a market for super factors, but is there a market for only one? And I don't know.
And you don't know. Yes, so that is Simplicity. And always a nice set. I believe, just like other years, this was exclusive to Top Spain. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So people can hopefully have organized their Spanish shipping forwarders, etc. In the meantime. Okay, that's enough of physical products. Let's get on to digital collectibles.
Da-na-na-na.
Let's start in the wonderful realm of Mr. Rich Mueller over at Sports Collectors Daily. He tells us that Fanatics Live creates repack product for streamers. Fanatics is getting into the repacks business. Now, Enzo, for anyone who doesn't know, very quickly, do you want to explain what a repack is?
A repack is historically mystery packs of which a breaker or business have put together a kind of collection of cards, hid them all in kind of these envelopes that would be mystery packs, and then you're able to buy in. They kind of tell you, and generally they'll tell you what the absolute peak value you could potentially get in them is, and they tell you what the floor value is. The floor value tends to be a little bit lower than the repack pack price, so it looks like great value, blah, blah, blah. Over the years, people have got more professional with that, and they've actually professionalized. They've branded their repacks instead of just being mystery packs. They've added, actual branding and infrastructure to the presentation of it, boxes, etc. They've added in checklists. They've added in a variety of kind of things to make it more professional, more luxurious. But in general, it is a way for breakers and businesses to take a lot of cards and make a little bit of extra money on top of kind of selling them in a mystery bag style way.
Yep. And obviously, just to build on that, you can get like graded cards in mystery packs. Sometimes you can get, obviously depending on the checklist. So sometimes they're easier or they're cheaper to buy into, or they're more available than a hobby product, and also, just to say, on the ceiling and floor thing, which is a key element, on something like, let's just use Top Simplicidad as an example. On Top Simplicidad, there is no floor really on the card, on the box. You could, in theory, get a box of cards worth, €20 or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a whole maths element there to it for those people who like to regulate their gambling. Anyway, the company announced Tuesday is rolling out a program on its Fanatics live streaming platform, which collectors can buy a $250 pack. So this is kind of in line with a hobby box, I guess. That will be open via digital animation. Each pack contains one card, the physical version of which is stored in the Fanatics vault. Collectors are given access immediately and can either keep the card there, listed for sale on the Fanatics Collect Marketplace, formerly PWCC Marketplace, or take delivery. Called Instant Rips, the program will focus on curated modern cards that have been acquired by Fanatics at shows or via other methods. Keep that in your head. They plan to start with baseball, but will expand the selection across different sports and categories in the months to come. Fanatics Live also features instant replays, so collectors can look back at the moment they acquired the card. Repacks have become a popular way of breakers to sell cards. A Fanatics spokesman told Sports Collector stated that cards in the repack will have a floor of about $90 and a ceiling of about $3,800. And they begin on March 13th. Actually, they were recording this on Fanatics Live with Odyssey repacks. And so how do you feel about Fanatics entering the repack business?
Good, bad, indifferent. That's so the bad part is the company that creates a lot of the cards, and in very soon the majority of the cards, is going to be able to double sell them, double pack them, because like as you pointed out there, they're going to shows and purchasing them, or other methods to acquire them, which could be maybe this doesn't go in a box, or we'll create a separate, maybe like we'll create a honeycomb parallel, but it'll be only exclusive to repacks, which would be it's not actually meant to be in hobby boxes or whatever. Also through other methods, maybe a breaker, you could say, listen, we're doing Odyssey repacks, you're going to get 100 of these packs, but you have to contribute 10 cards to it. That could be a way of doing it. It looks like they've professionalized it in a way that we haven't seen before. Like, we've seen branded stuff. Like, I like the idea, like if I'm a breaker, I like the idea of it's a digital experience. I don't have to ship anything. I don't have to curate it. I kind of just get the plug and play. So if you're a breaker, it's definitely better than doing all of the work necessary to create a repack. So in that case, it's quote unquote, it's good. But
because I guess so just on that, so like say Hit Parade by Dave and Adams. So if you're a breaker and you want to do mystery packs, but you don't want to create your own, you can get them from multiple places. But one of the places you can get them is Hit Parade with Dave and Adams, and they will send you stuff and you can open it. But if you want to do that as like a value add to your breaking, either to supplement how many boxes you're getting through, or just offer something else on your streams, then you have to receive those goods, and then it's extra work basically. So I think the key innovation here, as you say, is the digital element, which is taking advantage of. I remember we recently heard about all sorts of amazing digital stuff that Upper Deck have been doing for years that nobody knows about. And so somebody at Fanatics was like, well, we could just do this and look like we've invented it, because Upper Deck don't communicate with anybody about how their digital stuff works.
Their e-packs. It's basically that. Exactly. And the added bonus, again, because there's a lot of verticals here to deal with. I feel like I'm getting vertigo. They have their Fanatics Collect Marketplace, which like, how do they onboard users into that? It's like, well, if you want to be someone that buys in the repacks, you better have your Fanatics Collect account created. That way it goes straight into the vault that you have access to, and you can now either sell it on our platform or have it shipped to yourself or whatever. So like,
can we call it the ailing Fanatics Collect Marketplace?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it's mine. Although with the Paul Skeens debut patch that they have up there, that Ken Golden had a lot of words about not having access to customer data. He said one of the good things about making it a redemption is that people don't have to, like, breakers don't have to handle super valuable cards. You can just pass a redemption across. One of the negatives is the redemption process results in someone who owns the marketplace having direct access to the exact person who has the card, at which point they can open a negotiation at that point of redemption. So it's obviously bad. So I think they have a lot of work to do to promote the Fanatics Collect Marketplace, the former PWCC, which also had a lot of work to do at the time. But they have all the infrastructure to do that. And I think this repack setup and the fact that it eventually, whatever cards you bought, if the repacks are successful, all of the cards that are in the repack are ending up on the Fanatics Collect marketplace, at which point people need to engage with the Fanatics Collect marketplace, which is obviously on an internal corporate basis a wonderful idea, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, you know, Fanatics Live and Fanatics Collect. If you look at this, I'll show you this Instagram post, because they've told us that this has the whole hobby talking, and we're talking about it, so maybe they're not wrong.
That's right.
But if you look at this and you see, so it's Fanatics Live collaborating with Fanatics Collect. In theory, this could say Golden and Hit Parade or whatever. Or sorry,
no, you have a way
Whatnot and Golden. Whatnot and Golden.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm with you now.
And Whatnot and Golden and Hit Parade.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of logos flying around here. So I guess this is something that companies could have done previously together, but it would require incredible levels of collaboration and cooperation
and competence,
which is exactly, and the ability to play well with others. So it's easier to do it if you're all kind of under the one roof, which is also the sort of, that is the thing that enables it, and also the thing that makes it slightly dangerous in terms of paying the same company twice for the same cards, etc., etc.
3 times.
3 times, is it?
Yeah, because, well, maybe 4 times, but I would say 3 times. You're paying for the repack, which is theirs. They're getting a fee on the Fanatics Live platform, which is theirs. And then it's going to Fanatics Collect, at which point, if you auction it there, it's also theirs.
Yes, true. And somebody bought the card in the first place.
Yeah.
Or somebody bought the pack that produced the card in the first place. I don't know whether they've said this or not. I can't seem to find it. Is it just 1 card per pack?
Yeah. You actually read that in Rich Mueller's thing.
Did I?
1 card per pack, yeah.
I read it and I was just blacked out.
It's there. It's on like the third line of the first paragraph.
Oh, each pack contains 1 card. I read that out and then I was like, how many cards?
Well, like, obviously they can change it. Odyssey is just the name of the brand at the beginning. This is the first
starting
brand.
With baseball.
They call it, I don't know.
You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just, I need to put on. My God, I'm back.
Okay, right. So it's back. So that's a nice natural point to move on from Fanatics repacks.
What's your immediate opinion on it? Like, how do you feel?
I like the use of digital packs, and we've talked before about how I think there's a lot more room for digital packs in the hobby. Not in terms of, I don't mean NFT packs. I just literally mean just like digital backends, and not. I think there's, kind of using it basically to, if you don't want to get base cards or you don't want to do all sorts of stuff, I think there's an argument there for more widespread integration of digital packs in general. However, this is a really nice value add for the breakers on Fanatics Live, because it's a pitch to say, if you are on Fanatics Live versus Whatnot or versus on your own on Instagram or whatever, you can plug into this. So if you're an F1 breaker, instead of going live on Instagram and doing your breaks there, come over to Fanatics Live and you can use, the track day, Fanatics repacks or whatever they call it, and you don't have to handle any extra stuff. So I get that from that point of view. It does seem like all of the Fanatics categories, whether it be Fanatics Live, Fanatics Collect, Fanatics Events, all these people, they are kind of all just, they're just trying to make it work. And it's just, I'm getting like an air of like incredible, they would say incredible pace of innovation, I suppose, would be what they would say. I'm getting a slight sense of
urgency.
I'm not going to say desperation, but kind of approaching this. We're kind of on the road from urgency to desperation, I would say. It seems like they're constantly just like, we need to do more. And it's like, it's only been 2 weeks since the last thing. It feels, is it not going well?
Looking at it from the outside in, it feels like all of what they're implementing is good ideas for the most part.
Yep, I would agree with that. Good ideas. They're mostly good ideas.
It does feel like they're under pressure. That isn't like, it almost feels like it's that thing of like, have they spent beyond their means? I think that might be where you're coming at. If you've bought as many companies as they've bought, if you've bought as many, they bought the printers, they bought all the licenses, they bought VOT in Europe, they're setting up the shop. It's like, are they overextended? Because even though they're multi-billion, it's like, yeah, if you're multi-billion but you spend $1 trillion, you're out of business. You're fucked, you know, in that regard.
Yeah. There is still a limit to how much they can spend without return.
So it feels like they are in need of return, not because they're necessarily struggling, but because it's like at some point you need to recoup to it like to a degree. Like it looks like everything is great. It's like this repack is fantastic, but it's like, why launch it at 250? And it's like, because we really needed to be at 250 for this.
Yeah, because I said to you there just when I was like kind of telling people about why you pay repacks, it's like because sometimes it's like a way in to buy something that's not a hobby box. So then if you release it at 250, and again this is the first one, and it's presumably a series of repack products, etc., etc. But it's like surely you could do a $50 repack and sell loads of them and put more users on, unless you're like, no, we actually need this to work.
Yeah, but it could also be like, right, in theory we could have 10,000 $50 repacks.
Yeah,
but we don't have enough breakers to get through that on Fanatics Live at the moment. We don't have enough users. We'd rather go 250 and have 1,000 repacks. Like, you don't know, but it does feel like the thing. It's almost like all the ideas are actually fantastic, and the implementation has actually also seemingly been really, really good. But it does have there is a weird feeling in the air of kind of like, but they're overextended a little bit. So everything, as you're saying, it's like everything has to work. We're not allowed to have everything has to work. The 1 or 2 year kind of probation period where we're building it. It's almost like, no. Graph has to go up today, not tomorrow, not next year.
And we had a few months ago on the show, there was some sort of report in, I don't know, it was the Wall Street Journal or something about how Fanatics are doing excellent, they're doing great, which is always how you know a company's doing well, is when they come out and say how good they're doing. But they said that Fanatics Collectibles, which owns Topps, is their most profitable business segment. And it occurs to me now that at the time when I read that, I was just like, oh my God, that's incredible. Like, it's so profitable to run. But maybe, and that never occurred to me until just this conversation, that didn't include Fanatics Live. That didn't include Fanatics Events. That didn't include Fanatics Collect.
True.
So the business that was Topps presumably is still doing well. It was a profitable business beforehand. That's why they bought it. And it's still profitable. But they're trying to spin some of that profitability out into all these other operations. And again, I don't know if they were including that or not. But maybe they're finding out why they're looking at Topps and going, this is a completely unambitious business. They're a dinosaur. They've been doing the same thing for 100 years. Like, what on earth? Why don't you have your own marketplace? Why don't you have your own card shows? And now maybe they're finding out that Topps knew what they did best, knew what was most profitable, and didn't really want to spend their hard-earned, baseball Series 1 money trying to compete with Ken Golden.
Or open shops.
Or whatever. I don't know.
And that's why it's a bizarre one, because I think everything you're doing is actually right for a long-term win, but it feels like they're not looking for a long-term win. That's the feeling I have. That's the best way to say it. I think the shop in London is going to be fantastic. I think it's going to grow the hobby. I think Fanatics Fest was an incredible event and has the potential to kind of be in every city in the world once a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Like an online marketplace, you can compete. I mean, I don't know if you can compete with Ken Golden. That guy is just too good. But it's like you can certainly set that up. Whatnot was brand new. You can kind of compete with that. Like, there's a lot of things like you can do, but it's going to be long-term success. But it feels like it has to be successful in 2026. And that could tie into like investors wanting their outs or whatever. I don't know. But like, obviously the merchandise business is super, super profitable as well. I think sportsbook is kind of another big swing that I think that article was saying a lot of the profitability from cards is going into the sportsbook, because ultimately if you successfully set up a gambling business, the house always wins. So you should then just have a successful business. Yeah,
but getting market share is apparently what's tough over there.
But especially if you want market share tomorrow as opposed to over the next 10 years. That's what it feels like. But I don't know, Jason. We don't know. That's the thing. This is above our heads. But to say all that, repacks, I think they have, again, similar to what they've also done. It's like, we're setting up repacks and we're going to make them more professional and we're going to make them digital. And we're going to
just on that more professional, that more professional thing, I do think there are a lot of, like, the innovation, I think, is the digital aspect. I don't know. The checklist, the ceiling, the floor, that's already been done by the branding. That's already been done by other brands. I don't want to act like they're the only, not all repackers out there are cowboys. Some of them are, but there's loads of professionally run ones. And just in terms of keeping money in the hobby, another critique I would have is like, is it that bad if other businesses get to do repacks? And in theory, you could do. Are you not the monopoly? Do you not benefit in all ways from money circulating around the system anyway?
And because they said like they've had their crew at shows buying cards and other means to get the repack done, it's kind of like, one of the big, because repacks have become super popular in the last 12 months, especially in, like on Whatnot, etc., etc. But like we've seen it in Europe, like people are coming out and cashing people out on cards so they can go to the States and 100%. Do repacks or do repacks in Europe. So it's kind of like, if they're kind of, are they spending at shows? That's almost what I get into. Like, you're spending at shows, but what do you mean by that? Because like the way, one of the biggest positives for repacking I've seen is that they actually give liquidity to people who have bought the boxes, bought the breaks, have the cards, can't get out of them. And people, like, repacks became so in demand. People were paying 90 or 95% comps on cards because they knew they could repack it and get an extra 20%. So like, are we going to lose that if this becomes popular potentially?
Yeah. Or will it be like there's, like when you're selling a footballer to Man City or Manchester United, and it's just, there's a Fanatics tax, and all of a sudden you get to just say, yeah, that's 200 quid. Yeah. It's like, and you'd never sell it above 80 to anybody else, but then you have to buy it because it's not their money.
I'd like to see more about them buying, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Because if they're buying, it's like now you actually are putting the money back into the hobby. If they're buying in a serious way. Okay, so that's Fanatics and some digital collectibles or some digital platform stuff. Let's move on to Panini and their brand new digital collectibles on FIFA Collect. I'm going to read you some of a press release here from Panini. This is published in Zurich. Imagine that. Panini is taking its long-standing collaboration with FIFA to the next level. Oh, is FIFA based in Zurich in Switzerland?
Probably. Yeah, it must be, yeah.
Collaboration with FIFA to the next level, offering collectors a new and exciting experience through the FIFA Collect platform powered by Modex.
Can I say
the collaboration?
Fanatics Collect? FIFA Collect?
FIFA Collect? There's only so many words. The collaboration between Panini and FIFA Collect will introduce a series of exclusive digital drops celebrating decades of FIFA World Cup history. This initiative merges Panini's legendary physical collectibles with the next generation of digital collecting, giving fans the opportunity to experience some of football's most iconic moments in a whole new way, as well as unlock incredible rewards, including access to FIFA World Cup 2026 and FIFA Club World Cup 2025 tickets. So we don't really know what it is based on that, but there is more. This initiative represents the natural evolution of a partnership that has brought football fans closer to the game for decades, combining tradition and innovation to create a cutting-edge football collecting experience. All right. Group licensing director at Panini, Elisabetta Mussini, says, Panini and FIFA have been partners for decades, and this collaboration represents the natural evolution of our shared passion for football collectibles. By bringing Panini's iconic collectibles to FIFA Collect, we are creating an exciting and innovative way for fans to engage with the sport they love. The first drop is coming next week, and you can sign up and you can get a little welcome coupon or something like that. This is FIFA Collect. So if anyone has ever been on any sort of digital pack platform before, they'll recognize this. That's pretty standard.
It's not clear to me.
Blockchain.
Yeah, it's not clear to me what aspect of this is Panini.
So Panini aren't on it yet, but they will just be basically, see the way like you have all of these, so like the Club Leon things, or like there's a...
To say surprise Latin Power.
Surprise Latin Power, yeah. Okay. So basically there's just like all these different products. I think Panini will just be in and among here. So there's like timeless jerseys from Alain FC, Pachuca, etc. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to... I think it's going to be a situation of like...
Do you think you'll have like FIFA
cards or whatever?
Yeah, do you think you could have like FIFA Select blockchain on this maybe built in?
Maybe. I'm really not sure. I tried to figure out what it was going to be. I thought I had it, and now I realize I don't.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I understand digital collectibles, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I was looking at this going, wait, where's Panini in all this? And obviously this is going to tie into the World Cup, which they have collaborated with. I think the most interesting thing I kind of read there was just kind of like who put out this press release? Like, Panini and FIFA are together. Our license, we've been together for years. Yes. Don't you ever disrupt us. We're elevating. We're doing more. We are FIFA and Panini. Leave us alone. Please don't sell the license to Fanatics.
I think that from our point of view as the soccer card people,
it's hard to know.
The number one thing here is it's a deepening of the relationship. And maybe Panini are like, look, to be honest, we usually wouldn't do this. We don't really want to get involved in all this stuff, but this is what FIFA want to do. This is what the licensee or the licensor wants to do. So this is what we're going to do, because if we don't do it, I know, Ruben would be straight on a plane to Zurich saying he just launched Odyssey and he's ready to launch FIFA World Cup as a Fanatics repack. So yeah,
there you go.
So there's also stuff about leveraging blockchain technology and all that. We don't have to get into that. But basically, there is going to be some sort of Panini-related digital collectible on FIFA Collect next week. And it may be like something you can redeem for a physical card because they talk about the physical stuff actually coming to FIFA Collect.
Okay.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Phygital is what you call that.
You call that Phygital with a PH?
Yeah, Phygital. So a Phygital would be a digital collectibles that gives you something physical as well.
Wow, I like that very much. So just to finish up our review of Fanatics and Panini and their various positions in the marketplace, let's just head over to our, I'm not going to say friends, Enzo, because I know you have a consistent bone to pick, Collect Media.
I have no bone to pick, not today. Not today,
but anyway. Panini's antitrust case against Fanatics allowed to proceed. So this is by Will Stern over there. So a United States District Court judge of the Southern District of New York allowed the bulk of Panini's antitrust case against Fanatics to proceed on Monday in the latest development in a contentious legal battle between the two names in the hobby.
Biggest names.
So, two off. Very diplomatic there from Will Stern. He doesn't want to.
No, he's staying as neutral as he can, as much as he is a bit of a Fanatics.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The dispute began in 2023 when Panini alleged monopolistic practices. Their complaint arose of Fanatics' entry into the sports card space and its acquisition of Topps as well as the company's deals to produce licensed cards for the NFL, NBA, and MLB, which Panini alleged amounted to a monopoly in the industry. Fanatics sued them back and said you have no ground to stand on, saying it was not due to monopolistic practices, but rather due to Panini's incompetency that they'd been able to gain the licenses, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. You want to hear from some lawyers? I can tell you what some lawyers are saying.
I want to hear it all. Jeez, I'm ready.
Right. The court's decision finding that Panini had properly alleged Fanatics violation of the antitrust laws allows us to move forward with this case, which seeks to preserve competition in the sports trading card business, said David Boyes, chairman emeritus of Boyes, Schiller, Flexner, the law firm representing Panini. The litigation is important for fans, collectors, players, and everyone who benefits from competitive prices, better products, and innovation that have characterized the market that Panini has built and continues to lead prior to Fanatics' long-term exclusive dealings and restraints to trade. Fanatics did have some wins in Monday's ruling. Panini claimed it was an antitrust violation for Fanatics to purchase Topps. The judge dismissed that claim by saying Fanatics' acquisition of Topps could not plausibly cause antitrust harm to Panini, and so Panini lacked the standing to bring this claim. I don't really know what that, I don't know what antitrust is really, but some sort of thing. Okay. Fanatics said, we are pleased that the court has already rejected a number of Panini's claims and is allowing Fanatics' case to move against Panini to move forward. They are masters of PR. Panini's case against Fanatics was allowed to move forward, and Fanatics were like, we're glad that our case against Panini is unlike Panini's baseless allegations. We look forward to presenting actual evidence about how in just a few short years we have materially grown the hobby through investments, innovation, better products and marketing, and a relentless focus around enhancing the overall collector experience.
That is as well written a piece that I've ever heard. Unlike
so
Panini are throwing their toys out with a pram, and we're going to show you how we have grown this industry.
Yes, that's because Panini's central argument is that they were already market leaders. They were not incompetent. They were growing it, and Fanatics have come in to essentially destroy the industry by creating a monopoly. And Fanatics are saying, which kind of is like what we've been talking about with the Premier League license and stuff, is like, you didn't do anything. You are not in a position for me to complain about losing this license.
Panini kind of saying, look, they're coming in, it's going to be bad for the collector, prices are going to go crazy, is tough to say with the Panini pricing and the Dutch auctions and on all the sorts that has gone on. Is the only thing. That's tough for them. And it's also, like, to be honest, I think Panini are on the back foot a little bit by signing all the little licenses that they have, because they've signed up some terrible licenses. With all due respect, the EuroLeague, with all due respect, Live Golf. That's with all, the Rolling Stones, with all due respect to all three of those categories and fans and collectors.
I think we can put the Rolling Stones outside Live Golf and
but I'm saying they've pivoted and tried to stay in the game, but by doing that, the court could look at them and go, well, although Fanatics obviously have all the good licenses, you're still a player in this game. You can still compete. You can not compete in terms of financially, but it's not a monopoly. Yeah. You're winning licenses. You're producing cards. What's the problem?
Somebody in theory could, like the Premier League could, and next time their license comes up, look and go, well, I really like that Rolling Stones Prism did it. Maybe we should go back to Prism. That could happen. Yeah. As always, we'll recommend Paul Lesko, the hobby lawyer on all of this stuff, who does know what antitrust laws are and understands them very well.
He did say antitrust cases are confusing, Jason, so don't be hard on yourself.
I'm not going to be hard on myself. It's very, very complicated corporate law stuff, I think. But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Can I pull something that Lesko said? So Lesko said,
yes,
as part of the multiple lawsuits going back and forward, one of the things that Fanatics would have to prove is, because Panini basically alleged, I think at one point, Panini alleged they're signing up all of the athletes to exclusive deals purely to harm us. So you're talking about your Victor Wembanyama's, you're talking about your Jaden Daniels, you're talking about Caleb Williams, maybe, I don't know. You're talking about these people. And Panini would have alleged they done that so as our, Panini Prism sets are going to be less good because now we can't use Wemby autos, etc., etc. And one of the, so in that scenario, Panini would have won that case, I believe, by saying they did that to harm us if Fanatics had not have produced the unlicensed products that they did produce. So I actually think that, Fanatics mentality monsters, one of the reasons we've seen all of these terrible, and they have been terrible, unlicensed basketball sets that had Wemby autos galore, rookie autos. Yeah. Maybe internally they actually didn't want to do that. And I'm not so sure if that's the case, but maybe they actually didn't want to do it internally because they wanted Topps Chrome Basketball NBA to be the return of Topps Chrome Basketball, right? They wanted, right now there's a bad taste in the mouth, especially of new collectors that never had any affinity to Topps Chrome Basketball or Topps Chrome Football. We're like,
that weren't there
it's like Topps Chrome Basketball is brutal. It's horrible because it's unlicensed. So we just don't have that rapport. We're just like, this fucking thing. I don't want to fucking this set again. Yeah. Particularly even as like a European, that like basketball is growing here. It's huge. People still want it. But like my point of view, like when we're buying it, I'm just like, for fuck's sake, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's such a bad taste in the mouth. And it's like, could you have not been greedy just for a couple years and then come back with such a big bang and everyone would have been crazy. But I actually now believe that by creating the unlicensed sets, and obviously they're going to have all of the money that they've made and stats and da-da-da. Like we paid X for Wemby's auto, we made X money, profit, whatever, in products that we released. It's actually going to protect them in the court because now it's like, hey, we didn't buy that to hurt Panini. We bought that to produce Topps Chrome Basketball. We didn't have the license, but we knew if we had the big autograph signees, then we could do some cool shit that collectors would like. And it proved profitable, or we took a swing. It wasn't quite profitable, but it was definitely decent. Whatever. So it's like that's actually kind of covered them, I think, in that lawsuit because they've actually used the exclusive signee licenses, whatever.
It's not. It wasn't just for the purposes of damaging.
Because maybe Panini. The initial plan was like you'd imagine they wanted to damage Panini. Obviously, don't get me wrong. You would imagine they actually did want to do that, but they had the wherewithal, and obviously, regardless of if they knew doing that would protect them, they obviously like, well, if I'm going to sign Wemby autos, I'm going to produce whatever the fuck I can and sell it just to make money.
Well, I mean, even just on the basis of they took away, I think I just read there from Paul Lesko that Topps or Fanatics acquiring some printers that Panini used. I think Panini have said that took their production capabilities down by 100 million cards. Basically, so far has taken 100 million Panini cards out of the market, which should have been there. So I suppose if you buy the printers, you may just be an absolute just like scorched earth, sick freak that's like, I'm going to buy these printers and I'm going to leave them gathering dust while Panini slowly choke on their own production supply. But that would definitely be, I don't know what antitrust is, but that would definitely be an antitrust violation.
I wouldn't trust that. But if you're producing as many sets and cards as they have been and are, Jesus Christ.
And you're like, no, we needed the capacity. Yeah. Look what we had to do. We had to print all this because basketball midnight.
Collectors wanted it, by the way.
Yeah.
We needed some Stranger Things high tech. Come on. What are you talking about?
There is an interesting thread here, or just a tweet here from Paul Lesko about asking his audience what he thinks the result of this legal battle is going to be. And 46.2% of his audience, which I imagine are quite an informed bunch if they're following him, 46.2, so just under half, say this case will probably confidentially settle. There's unlikely to be, as far as his crowd are concerned, a concrete result in court. Probably Fanatics will agree to pay Panini a huge sum of money.
But again, going into kind of Fanatics are not short of cash, but if you have investors in and they want a quicker cash out, whatever, if you have to deal with a big lump sum out, that's obviously...
Well, we're going to pay for it.
Oh, we'll all pay for that.
The collectors are going to pay for it.
Don't get that twisted. But yeah, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. It's a weird one because it's a bizarre case because obviously there is, 2/3 or let me say 77, 78 of a monopoly being made, but it's like, yeah, we have 3 of the big American licenses. We have, obviously soccer license. It's like, yeah, but like Panini had a lot of them licenses prior. It was that monopoly, and I know like the long-term nature of the contracts.
Yeah, it's the long-term nature. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Never for more than 4 years at a time. I think the Panini hold.
Yeah, but like, is that a law? Like, if that's not a law, a licensing law, it's almost like you shouldn't be allowed to sign a player for a 20-year contract. That there's human rights violations there. You can't. Do that. But we could be looking at something that could change licensing laws, where it's like, listen, every license has to come up for fair, contract offers, whatever, every 4 years in every aspect of every form of licensing agreement. Like that would be great for the licensor, maybe.
Yeah.
The good licensors. But yeah, it's a bit messy because it's a monopoly, but it's like it's a monopoly, but so is every licensing deal. Like, was the FIFA game for Xbox a monopoly for 10+ years? Maybe. PES couldn't get a foot in. It's like, what the licensing is confusion. Is it a monopoly or is it a licensing deal? That's the thing that confuses me.
And to what extent does, and I mean, I'm sure there's probably lawyers, and actually I know there are lawyers who listen, who are probably like, ignorant. Please shut up. But like to what extent does the licensor have power? Like, surely if the licensors are all happy, then you're not forming a monopoly, you're just serving your customers.
With Fanatics' approach is to give back more to the licensees and the clubs and the players, etc. So it's essentially like the club association or the league.
Again, but which we pay for. Again,
I know, but I'm saying the leagues and therefore the clubs and therefore the players and therefore everyone in the kind of tree are getting a kickback essentially for Fanatics. Fanatics basically said, look, we'll take over this stuff and 20% goes to all you guys and you're going to earn more than you've ever earned. At that point, is it like the licensor is part owner of what you're calling a monopoly, but it's like, it's my business. Like like the New York, the MLB or the NBA, let's say the NBA are now in the sports card business with Fanatics. It's like, what I mean? It's like we're producing our own sports cards. They get a chunk of the profit because they're doing all the work, but we're doing it. Like, we're not even licensing it anymore. Now we just work with them. These are our
it seems unlikely to me that
I don't know how Panini gets a payout. I understand it's going forward and that's great, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like you could win the case as well. I feel like Fanatics could win the case based on like what they've done and what they can do. I'm like, I just like, what does Panini win? Like, oh yeah, you know what? Fanatics are doing a monopoly, right? Pay me 100 million and all is good. And it's like, right, what was all that? What are we talking about?
Well, I think that is it. I think it's like Panini are probably confident they can drag out a settlement out of Fanatics here because they're saying we want to be compensated by you for coming in and stealing our industry off us. And we can keep these, because these questions are all, I think, sufficiently complicated to keep tied up in court for years and years and years. Fanatics, who we know are kind of like, they want results now, they want to look like they're a success now, they want to kind of go public at some point, all this kind of stuff. They don't necessarily want these, like, you can't, I don't think you can go public with a big lawsuit hanging over you. So eventually,
I don't think you could successfully go public. Like, imagine, like, you're going public and people are like, they might lose the case to Panini and it might be a really bad ruling, at which point, why would I invest? So maybe it will delay going public, which, as you said, even if they're confident they could win it over a long period of time, it's not...
Just pay them.
You need to just get them to shut the fuck up and eat.
Yeah.
So you can do what you're doing, getting your job done.
So we'll see. Any lawyers writing in, please do tell us if there's anything we've missed there. I recommend, of course, the writings of Paul Lesko on all this stuff.
Listen, Lesko knows what he's talking about, and he knows the hobby as good as anyone. I'm sure he would love to add those 10 million cards that were taken out of production into his lawsuit collection, if only they were ever produced.
And arriving by the truckload. All right, let's just take a short break and then come back with some other stuff. Right, Enzo, this isn't really a very long thing to say, but PSA, while we were kind of on a strange schedule, did a big app update. And they were touting their new and improved ability to scan graded or ungraded cards and tell you what kind of card it is for the purposes of research or submitting or whatever it is. And I just used it. And this is not an ad for PSA.
Okay.
I just used it on this Finest Flashbacks Gold Refractor, Antoine Griezmann, which is about, and it's raw, and I would say this is about as obscure as a modern card could be. Finest Flashbacks, and it worked perfectly. I scanned the front, I scanned the back, and it said, is it this? And the top result was this, and there was 2 alternates, and it's great.
Hold on a minute, let me...
Yeah.
Oh, nice little card here. Is the purpose of this, like, Jason, if you wanted to submit that card for grading, could you scan it without having to type in? I mean, typing in on PSA is a non-issue anyway, to be honest. Probably take longer.
Yeah, I believe you could. I believe you could.
So I'm on my app.
There is
what do I press? Oh wait, there we go. Try it now.
Scan a card or cert, I should say.
I'm using a graded card, but I'm trying to scan without the cert because I don't want. It's not impressive to see, you know. Oh yeah, it shows me the pop and all. Did they show you the pop?
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying it again here.
Do you know what I'll do?
For mine, there is no pop. I don't think so. It's just showing me like there's no data available, but it knows exactly what it is.
I scanned the card, right, and I'm hiding. Yeah. I hided the cert and the grade, etc. But it still pulled it up on the pop report, telling me, because I think it knew the serial number, so it actually pulled out the graded version. I think.
Woof.
So
that is something that when we started in the hobby was like,
why doesn't it
exist? And I think PSA actually, I think recently have become very, very casual. I would say they're almost like how you used to see Usain Bolt at the end of races almost slowing down. He was that far ahead of it. He would almost like stroll kind of like over the line, like I'm doing it. That's what I feel like PSA are doing right now. They're so far ahead that they're almost like casually doing things that would have previously been huge leaps against the competition.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we added this. It's like, all right.
Yeah, and it's like, what? How profitable are you? How much R&D are you doing? So, yeah, congratulations to them.
Congrats to PSA. Please come to Dublin and sponsor the Dublin.
Please come to Dublin. Absolutely. Right, this is kind of an old-fashioned item to have on Soccer Cards United because this is from the account of Liam, aka Sports Cards Cymru.
Oh yeah, wow.
And yeah, a long-time contributor to the show, who posted this on the platform formerly known as Twitter. Big UCL tops now dropped today, especially for Arsenal fans at Noeri, and Miles Lewis Skelly dual auto lottery ticket tops now. Incredible card for Arsenal fans, by the way, and a real power of the hobby situation, having these tops nows now compared to all the iconic moments you could have had them for. Anyway, but Tops have also clarified the wording around parallels for the first time as far as Liam has seen, and I think as far as we've seen as well, confirming that the odds of a parallel in your Tops Now order is based on the number of cards ordered. Yeah. So
people used to always wonder, could I buy 400 cards and would I have one chance of it at a Tops Now parallel, or because I bought 400 I have loads, or if I bought 400 as 400 separate orders, would it be treated differently? This seems to be the first time they've ever said, no, just place a huge order and you'll get something.
Yes, so parallels or other non-base card hits will replace the base card in your order. Odds of hitting a non-base card are based on the total cards ordered. It used to say parallels are in addition to the base card in your order, which was ambiguous. So that is an interesting one for those Tops Now heads that are still out there. And I like that, Enzo, because there are occasionally Tops Now cards that you do kind of think, if I just ordered loads of these, like that'd be so cool to just get one. But you never really knew if that kind of brute force.
Yeah. And they have obviously kind of figured that out probably through some little focus groups or whatever. And they've kind of figured out, oh, this is a problem. The wording was terrible. Let's just adjust it. And that should actually just result in more orders, because now degens will degen because they're actually confident degenning is what increases their odds, as opposed to people were really confused.
Exactly. And then also, this is I'll just show you this. Here's another podcast, Angela, the Jeff Wilson podcast, where Jeff Wilson, a sports card investor, is talking to Mike Mahan.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Mike Mahan.
There he is.
And who, it's funny, in this interview segment almost says hype, but then it says, I want to say enthusiasm.
And that sounds like an internal kind of thing. I'm like, let's never use the term hype.
Yeah.
We need to do better. That was fun. He helped.
I love that. That was a little Freudian slip.
I dream of the day we have a CEO, Jason, that we can kind of tell him, here's what we fundamentally believe, and this is how you have to conduct yourself. And we could pay them so much that they're able to, they know what they need to do. I love all the Tops products in the background, by the way.
Yes, basically just to a lot of soccer up there. There is a lot of soccer up there.
Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, just that when the NBA and NFL card license come on stream for Fanatics, they're fully expecting to continue the rollout of the debut patches, which you've seen in the MLB. And now this is previously, I think, being said. There's no reason why it wouldn't by Michael Rubin, but this is just kind of an update on that. Enzo, do you think that debut patches would be a good idea for all of their soccer licenses, or should a player just have one debut patch for one competition? The same way you don't get it. There's no like, you don't debut in multiple competitions in the NBA or the MLB.
No, I think I wouldn't hate if someone had a debut Premier League patch and a debut Champions League patch. I wouldn't be against a debut Euros patch. I wouldn't hate it. Really throws the national debut symbol out the window a little bit if you had a national debut patch.
Well, a national debut patch could be
with a natural debut symbol as well. It's weird because I fully expect them to do this for the Premier League, but the weird thing is but they haven't done it for the Bundesliga. But they have the Bundesliga. They have the Bundesliga. Where's the Champions League?
Here's what I'll do. Right, I'll give you this. Right, let's say it's Erling Haaland. Right, so Erling Haaland has his Champions League debut for Salzburg. Then he has his Bundesliga debut for Borussia Dortmund. Then he has a Premier League debut, and he hasn't had a Euros debut because Norway. Right. So if we're looking at Bundesliga, let's say all the licenses were happening, Bundesliga or Champions League, then Bundesliga, then Premier League. Should he have a debut patch for each of those competitions, considering the whole idea of an MLB debut patch is that getting called up to the majors for the first time? This is what I think is the key distinction. The major leagues from the minor leagues or from college is your entrance into the professional sport, not just your entrance into the competition of the MLB. So how many patches should he have in that case? Three?
I think his Champions League debut, this is where it'll get messy. If they also gave him a Champions League debut for Man City, like this is your first Champions League game for Man City, then it's like, don't do that. After he's already had a Champions League debut. Do you know what I mean?
It has to be player-based, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, honestly, I believe that's what you should do, because at the end of the day, we don't, ultimately, again, it's that thing of like, you're talking about MLB, but we don't have that here. So it's like, in that case, you could argue a lot of players should never get a debut patch at all, because this player is after getting promoted from the championship, and what's wrong?
They would have already had their professional debut.
That's out the window. I think it's competition debut. If you had like Cristiano Ronaldo's first ever performance in a Champions League game for Sporting Lisbon, debut patch, that would be unreal, regardless of if he had played in the Portuguese league for 30 games prior or whatever.
So I'll say this to you, just in terms of giving it a special thing. Like, I think one thing that if I was the Premier League, what I would be, if they came to me and said, I want to do a Premier League debut patch, I think what I would say if I was the chief commercial officer of the Premier League is, that's grand, but you're not doing any other soccer debut patches, because I want like the Premier League to be the thing.
Elevated.
So you can only get the debut patch in Premier League products, because it's like this player who may be like the top scorer in Italy for the past 2 seasons and have a UEFA Europa League or something like that. I want him to still be like he's stepping up to the Premier League.
Yeah, but no, come on. I think you've lost your head on these patches. I think the first time you make a debut in a competition that is also licensed for cards, you should have a debut patch. The same way Messi got one in MLS. So it's not just the MLS one shows you how soccer's going to do it. It's not about your first professional entry into a league, into the big leagues. It's first your debut game in a competition, which, to be honest, has always mattered in football. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Di Maria signed for Man United, there was a player cam on him. It was his first Premier League game. And I know it's Premier League, it matters, but it's like first Champions League game, you're coming on for your Champions League debut. Yeah, no. You need a patch for each one, Jason. Simple as. I just don't want to see Haaland get his Man City Champions League debut patch after he's been in.
But I don't think you don't get two. You wouldn't get.
You could, though. But you shouldn't. That wouldn't make sense.
No.
But I see it coming. But it's sorry to say, it's showing that it's obviously easier to do it in America than it is elsewhere, because we haven't seen it in Champions League yet, and we haven't seen it in Bundesliga yet, and we're all waiting for Premier League going, they're going to do it in Premier League. But it's like, why haven't they done it already in these? They've only done it in MLS, which is American. MLB American. They're saying NBA, NFL will get that done, but that's all happening in the United States. A lot easier to manage, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know, for instance, like UEFA there are other deals. Clubs have other deals regarding where the jerseys go. You can't necessarily just cut a patch out of a jersey. Like, that's, you're gonna have to pay them extra.
Like, I feel the patches are stitched on and stitched off, so I think the kit should, in theory, be mostly. It can
go on and can come off.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, but that's why it's kind of so brilliant.
Yeah,
it's not inventive.
It could also, I can imagine, like, in the Premier League, it's very like Sean Dyche against a brick wall, kind of utter woke nonsense, kind of like, what is this, like, American shite like going on our Premier League jerseys, game?
I mean, the fact that, come on, I've seen all the Premier League, as soon as they went with shoulder logos, that they'll stick a patch on their kit, no bother.
Yeah. The first time I want to hear Alan Shearer talking about it on Match of the Day. That's what I want to hear.
Like you will see, like, you know, when a Premier League player is making his debut, people are excited about it. You're going to see the debut part. It's going to be a thing. I believe they'll get the Premier League done. It's just curious as to why they haven't bothered to do the Bundesliga, or maybe they might surprise us this year. We might have it, but
well, I mean, we know from the fact that there are equal numbers of each Bundesliga club represented in each Bundesliga product that the Bundesliga are very particular about what you do and don't do.
Stick a patch on, let them celebrate debuts for every single club. Now, it could get messy in soccer where it's like, I would like to know how many debuts were made this season, for example.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, how many debuts are made and how many, like, for instance, like, let's say,
how much is that?
Storm Graz or something get into the Champions League, and now every single player is in that team is it's their first time to Champions League.
That Luton Town get promoted to the Premier League. Now every single player, for the most part, is making a Premier League debut.
Yeah,
but then is that fun? Is that cool? Is that you know, bit of crack? Probably is.
And then where do you put all those? Like, how does that work? Yeah,
you never know. And then someone will be really good and really talented, and then it's like, oh shit, that patch was actually unreal.
I mean, like, I'm gonna Google this. How many players in the MLB make their debut each season?
You Google that. I'm going to Google how many players in Premier League make a Premier League debut. And I'm using ChatGPT because that's the only way that's going to get this done. I'll do 2023. In 2023-24, how many players made their Premier League?
212 MLB players for in 2024. Or in 2020, sorry. So 200 players.
So 200. But do you think they all got debut patches? I assume they would. I don't feel like I've seen that many.
I don't think there has been that many, no.
ChatGPT is struggling. Oh, this is so...
It's on Google.
You hate ChatGPT. This is telling me 41 homegrown players made their league debuts. Additionally, numerous others. Oh, go on.
Okay, that's nonsense. In 2024, 255 players made their debut in the MLB.
You're doing MLB, I'm doing Premier League.
Yeah. So I don't think there was 255 MLB debut patches issued, but maybe there was. Maybe baseball collectors can correct us.
I can't find the Premier League one. So far, 41 debut teams have made homegrown. That's like, I don't see. The problem is that the term debut. How many? Because like it's not about necessarily a debut. It's like how many players.
This is what I'm saying. This is what debut and first appearance are not the same.
No, I know. But like again, Messi made his debut, which was his first appearance. Like that's what gets you the badge in soccer. I have no idea. I don't know the number. The number is not.
All right. Well, anyway, that's an interesting one. People can
dig into the stats.
Debate over that. Yeah. We'll see what Fanatics do. And if they do, I mean, by the way, there's no guarantee that no one has said that we have agreement signed with the NFL and the NBA. You know, they may not be able to push it through in the exact same way. Maybe baseball is a particular, you know, obviously baseball's relationship to cards is much deeper, much longer than NFL or NBA or soccer, in fact. Right.
Can I say, the same way they have kind of kickbacks with the league, that the MLB, the patch might be a huge kind of commission thing. It might be like, look, if you let us do this for every debut, for every patch we make, you guys are going to get X amount of money.
Yeah. They also, just on everybody not getting one, they may say like, yeah, we're giving Paul Skeens one. We're not giving this guy one who just got called up for one game because your usual, you know, right outfielder was injured and you had to call this guy up. He's not getting one because I want this to be actually special and like, it can't just be everybody gets one.
But what if Paul Skeens was the guy who in one season got one little call up, thrown back down, and the next season was Paul Skeens? Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't not capture it. Although you say next year we'll just give him a debut, but that's wrong. Right.
The word that Mike Mahan doesn't use, which is hype, that must be gone around to not use anymore, which is hype. I think you do want, and again, these things kind of being a success instantly, I think they would rather get the results now and just pick the hottest players right now. I don't think they're really interested in this long-termism.
But it's not long-termism. It's like when someone's making a debut, you don't know if he's going to be hot or not. No one, because they haven't played.
Well, that's what I'm saying is I think they'd rather choose the ones that they already know are hot.
Yeah, the people like the number one draft pick is getting his NBA debut, no bother about it.
Exactly, yeah. We're not really interested in number 56 in the draft.
But he could be, you know...
I know, it could be Steph Curry.
That's right.
Yeah. Is there any other business?
And now, gentlemen, is there any other business?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. We are going to talk over the next couple of weeks about personal collections and how to build them. We wanted to get to it this week, but there was way too much on the agenda. You can check out soccercardsunited.com for some sealed wax, and lots of news coming up from us over the next few months as well about various projects that we'll be embarking on around the hobby. In the meantime, have a good week. Enjoy your weekend. And Enzo, in advance of St. Patrick's Day, I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Jason, that's very kind of you. We had our president talking to America's great president.
Wasn't our president?
Well, our Taoiseach. Prime Minister?
Yeah.
Prime Minister, my apologies.
Taoiseach.
No, but we can call it Prime Minister as well. Our president, of course, is a non-powerful person. But still, our head of state, could I call a head of state?
He's the head of government. The president's the head of state.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Did you not do CSPE at school, for God's sake?
I did, but I don't take the president too seriously. I'll put it that way. And our president, that is.
Well, you will when Conor McGregor is president. Listen, he got a shout out in the Oval Office.
Yeah, I've heard.
You got to figure out what Conor wants you guys to do because he has the whole thing figured out.
There was Shamrock socks. There was a Shamrock bowl. There was talks about the pharmaceutical industry. It was all happening. It was fantastic.
It was some class A, diplomacy there. I thought from Micheál Martin.
10 out of 10.
I said, "Listen, Micheál, I've been in those rooms.
Yeah, you know what he's doing. You can see it.
I know what he's doing. I know what he's thinking. I know what he's doing. I've sat in rooms in Cleveland and I've felt that.
He's like, you guys have stolen the pharmaceutical industry from us, and it's like, but we invest as well."
He felt a little bit like an American breaker confronting us about European exclusive Disney products.
It's like, listen, nothing I can do about this. It was funny though because it felt like you stole our pharmaceutical industry, but that's a battle I cannot fight because I'm here for 4 years and I'm not getting into it. But it was a big mistake. You guys are very lucky. That's what I kind of felt like.
Yeah, and it's also that he needs the old pharmaceutical money to keep rolling in.
That's right.
Anyway, listen. That's all a different podcast, I suppose.
Definitely not our podcast, let me tell you. I'll stick to digital collectibles.
All right. We'll see you soon.